Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Too Many Men. There's so much hockey happening. I know nothing compares to the Quinn Hughes news, but we are so back with another episode, two in 1 week, because we are going to take next week off for the holiday to recharge, spend some time with people we want to spend time with. We'll be back the following week, but I'm delighted to be joined by my fellow soon to be vacation taking, real Christmas tree owning. You have to check out the YouTube to take in this glory. Maybe we'll get another Rangoon jump of joy for this holiday festiveness. Sara, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. How the hell are you?
Thank you. Oh yeah, I'm fantastic. Yeah, that Rangoon clip got me. She was Airbud. She's like it's a toy that I've had for her for like a decade. She's only 4, but I've somehow had this toy for a decade, and like she's never cared about it, and then she just saw it one day and was like freaking out. So
So I
don't
missed
know.
I missed the toy involvement. She was jumping because she saw a toy. What happened?
Well, there was just on the ground, and she was like, "Oh, there, here that is," and was like freaking out.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Well, we of course would not be Too Many Men without the brilliant mind who is actually, you don't know this, listeners, but one of the most patient people I know, because for months we've been holding her back from having the Olympic roster discourse. And of course, we're going to do it one more week because she knows I don't want to do it. We'll do it next week, my friends. That is Shayna Goldman. Shayna, say hi.
Hi. When you said I'm patient, I'm like, who are we talking about? Like where are we going with this? I'm not a patient person.
Well, you are with this because every week Shayna puts it on the agenda, and every week Alison says, "No, I don't want to do it, but we'll do it."
I only do it because I see so many takes out there that are so wrong that every time we're like, okay, what's on the agenda? It's like you scroll for 5 seconds and I'm like, this is a wrong take. So let's put a wrong take on there so we can write it eventually.
Well, I will say, if you want a preview of Shayna's thoughts, it's out on The Athletic. And Shayna, I have to tell you, social media wise, I am dying because if you look at the tweet, like there's the image of your roster and then it says Team USA roster by Shayna.
Well, I didn't. So Dom had this idea and he sent me it and he sends me his out like, I'm doing this for Canada. And I'm like, are you telling me to do this for the US? And he's like, well, I'm not doing it for the US. Like, can't betray my country. So like those were made for us, which was nice. So it's not because there's two different roster versions in there. There's what the model says and what we say.
Okay, well, it seeing just that image is kind of engaging to me. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm the new GM, guys.
As
Bulgarian,
you
step
Need
should be.
people
aside.
need.
That's right, exactly. And again, we'd like to give a shout out to Birdie Sideburns, who did have the accurate trade prediction for the Quinn Hughes trade. We are in the process of getting merch to this friend of the pod. And you know what? I'm going to give ourselves a little tap on the back because I did hear this tweet mentioned in other podcasts and shows, and we are the only show that gave the actual name shout out, which is what you should always do, which is give credit by name to the people who do the work. So keep that in your little happy Christmas bag of gifts. All right.
Especially in sports where everyone, I'm sorry, loves to be like, first on this, reported by, blah, 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 blah. Like, give credit then to everything. If we're gonna play this game for like some things, can we play for everything?
Of
Yeah.
course not. You know we
We can't
can't.
play it for anything, even with women who report on the news, actually.
Well, no, they can do that, but then they're going to come and slide into your DMs and tell you that you're wrong, even when you're
Mm.
Yeah.
right.
Still,
Where'd you get that information? Fuck off.
From my work, just like we're supposed to.
if they
Any.
only knew. I have better sources than you. I just don't want to be an insider because I don't. Oh, okay, we're not going down that road.
It's just,
I like
that's
to crack
just
my
a
little
secret
jokes.
I'll never tell.
We've left the
You
we've
know
left.
you love me. XOXO.
XOXO.
Oh my gosh, we love that so much. Okay. Happy holidays, including Festivus, apparently. Let's move on, Sara, to everybody's favorite segment. What time is it?
Time for bitch. Oh, news bar, rum ba bum bum. Little
Ooh,
drummer boy.
that's very nice. I love this. All right. Here we go. Bit of news. We did, if you missed it last episode, dedicate a full half hour ish to the Quinn Hughes trade because it's obviously the news of the century. But there were other things going on in the past week in terms of players moving rosters, and that included a goalie trade for the Edmonton Oilers in this economy. Supposedly, Edmonton thinks they have found the solution, maybe, to their goaltending problem, sending Tristan Jarry to Pittsburgh and, bringing Tristan Jarry to Edmonton and sending Stuart Skinner to Pittsburgh. We'll get into the ramifications of them seeing each other recently in a hot second. There was also a secondary move on the defensive side just to make sure everything was still roster compliant. But it's kind of insane that it took this long. It's kind of insane that Edmonton thinks, with all due, Tristan Jarry is going to solve their problems. Shayna, what do you make of the trade we always thought Edmonton needed to make, but the pieces involved, are they the right ones?
I mean, this trade is something else. It's so Stan Bowman though. Like I'm not shocked at all. Like I think people forget how much he mismanaged things because we focus on all of the other shit he did that's so wrong, but you forget about the team building itself, which was not good. And this is a prime example of it because I get they had to move on from Stuart Skinner. If anything, I would be trying to find, I would keep Skinner and have a Calvin Pickard replacement, just the way things are going this year in particular. And Skinner can like have his moments. It's just the instability that he brings to the goaltending situation, I think, and how he spirals when things go south, and they often go south, and the defense is left him like super exposed. But to go for Tristan Jarry is such a choice because you're looking for like the Eastern Conference version of Stuart Skinner, basically, right? Like he brings more volatility to the net. And the other part of it is he has 2 years on his contract. So now you are tying this to the 2 years you have with Connor McDavid. And Connor McDavid said he wants to see how this team's going to be built and he wants to see the team direction. He's made comments like that, and I think it's a big reason why he's not going long term here. And that's the commitment. And it's just an odd choice to me, especially because he doesn't have a great playoff record. And that sometimes I think gets overhyped, but he either has not been healthy enough to play and it's become a pattern, or when he is in the lineup, it's not very good. So to me, it's a very dicey decision. And then to have to pay up to do it, to have to move Brett Kulak to make this deal happen, plus the first rounder, it's like, well, if you only had cap space, where did the cap space go? To the 8-year deal to Trent Frederick. And people are like, well, that's not a big deal. That's just the bottom six contract. But it all adds up. And when you're a contender, you need every cent. And they didn't have it. So very perplexing, the pieces, especially when there were other goalies available. And that's like the other part of it. Everyone's like, well, what else did you want them to do? I don't know. Look how many goalies have moved in the not couple months, the past 2-3 years when we all knew this was a problem, right? Like Spencer Knight, Scott Wedgwood, Mackenzie Blackwood. There were Shieloffs went to Pittsburgh. That was another option. Like there were so many different goalies on the move. You could have found someone an ounce more stable.
Sara, how do you think this does or does not solve Edmonton's problems in net?
I think it's worth a shot. I think it's not like it's Tristan Jarry. What are we excited? But I guess like what else can you? Yeah, I don't. It's a something again that should have been done 3 years ago, 2 years ago. So they had better options then. Now I understand that there are slim pickings at the moment, especially when this is like a team that threatens to be an like opponent to anybody in the playoffs that they could be dealing to and with. But this is what happens when you wait until like way after a decision should be made. It's like getting a Christmas gift, right? And then all like the shitty stuff is not, well, I don't care. Like whatever. Tristan Jarry was never supposed to be like the number one goaltender. That's not, and it just like he was in the minors and it just like worked out this way. And the Penguins have not been a dynasty since. So I don't know who's to say.
Well, both goaltenders do seem to be embracing their new opportunity. Of course, one of the reasons that Edmonton seemed to be giving about why they were dragging their feet is that Stuart Skinner, obviously from the area, also quote supposedly, and I'm not saying this because it isn't true, this is what we have heard, but a beloved person in the room, a big part of the team and the team morale off the ice. So the irony coming when his former teammate Leon Draisaitl gets his 1,000th career point in Pittsburgh against Stuart Skinner in net. The images are pretty wild, just seeing him standing far apart from the group he played with for so long. Shayna, do you want to talk about Dry hitting 1,000 first, or the irony? And also, it's actually kind of sad Stuart Skinner having to be there like just 5 feet away.
It was kind of sad because it's like, oh, there goes my besties. Very sad. But no, I need to talk about bestie Leon, and I need to celebrate these smoking his way to 1,000 NHL points t-shirts. Gorgeous, 10 out of 10. Love everything about it. I think it's just fun and different. I mean, I wore my camel sweatshirt in honor of the picture of Leon smoking darts. We love that. So great accomplishment. Really impressive. Amazing player, honestly. I feel like for years, like we debated his value, like because he was so bad defensively, could he be up for the Hart? And he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna become amazing defensively now." And he still scores a shit ton despite that turnaround. I don't know. Very, very, very fun player. It's hard because you're the number two to McDavid, but like on any other team, he'd be an elite number one. So go off, Leon.
And Sarah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, everyone knows here at Too Many Men, Draisaitl is a bestie of the pod. But is this player constantly being undersold, undervalued, simply because of who he plays with as well?
I mean, it's impossible not to do it because that's just the reality of the situation, I think. But I think at this point, he needed last year's playoff when he wasn't hurt and when he went on this tear to really establish that, yeah, if you're not talking about him at this point in a different conversation than McDavid and not, if you can't see how he's a standalone great, then that's on you.
I have to say, too, and this is like just a cheesy observation, but for those of us who are lucky enough to go into rinks and see these players live, like McDavid, and look, McDavid is amazing, of course, like, but he looks like a hockey player, right? Draisaitl is such a large human, and then to see him move the way he moves, I just find it even more impressive, like what he does and how big his frame is. And I'm a Draisaitl fan, obviously.
Yeah.
So
It's the strength. Like you watch
yeah.
the plays, it's something like I think we get enamored by the speed and the highlights, but it's like what happens before the scoring sequence that's so interesting. And it's like, how do they get possession back? And it's always something like, with something like Kucherov, you watch, like, how does he lift someone else's stick or do that because he thinks the game so well? But with Draisaitl, like, it's the anticipation and it's also just the sheer strength of what he does to make these plays on both ends of the ice. Like, he's become an amazing puck retriever. Like, if he killed penalties, he could have won the Selke last year.
Mm. Shayna, I have to say, perhaps the biggest honor for Leon is not reaching 1,000 points, but you're finally saying his name right.
I've said it right this
He's
entire
earned it.
time.
He's finally earned it.
You know what? I like that on our agenda, the people we have to speak about, like a couple of them are names we have butchered, so it's fine. I feel like mine was a minor thing. It's not a big deal. That's why he's Bestie Leon to me. I'm just gonna keep it simple.
Well, speaking of superstar talents, some not great news. And you guys, this was crazy. I'm sure everyone has seen the play by now, but Connor Bedard, who has seemingly really turned the corner this season in terms of starting to become what everyone expected him to be. It's literally the last play of the game. Chicago was in St. Louis. Bedard is on the dot to take the face off. There's 0.8 seconds left. And as he finishes the face off, he seemingly, and we know no details officially, grabs his shoulder, goes right off the ice, and now is week to week for the Chicago Blackhawks. I am continuing to get more and more concerned about overuse injuries starting to affect players with the demands of this schedule. And I know nothing, and I'm not a doctor, but like if it's his, like all of this stuff is happening, our body's getting enough time to rest, our body's getting enough time to properly recover. It's wild, but the specific impact of Connor Bedard and the whole mess of it in the context of all these injuries. Sarah, what was your reaction when you saw and or heard about what happened to Bedard in Chicago?
Yeah, you think about it. Who Pedersen, Logan Cooley, Eichel. I mean, I guess he's day to day. Ryan Leonard.
And who
Who
in
else?
Philadelphia with off the shot, remember?
Um,
Tyson Forster.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah.
He's
Shane
had horrible
Pinto.
luck.
Yeah, Adam Fox. It's like all these young stars. You can just go down the line. Jake Middleton. Um, Literally, like Jake Wallman every freaking day. Like Logan O'Connor. There are so many guys right now that are just like important players of their teams and are injured, and then there's some that have just recently come back, and it's a lot of like the young premier stars. It sucks for Bedard. I guess, what is he going to get reevaluated in early January? So maybe it's not the end all be all. Maybe it's not as bad as we think. Like, he gets to maybe relax on Christmas and like be with his family, whatever, take a breather, come back. We'll see. But like, it just really sucks that like it seems everyone's getting injured.
Shayna, your thoughts?
Yeah, everyone's getting hurt. Definitely wonder about the overuse of it all. We're going to put a disclaimer on this entire season of Too Many Men saying we are not doctors. But
Yes.
and it sucks for him too. It's like him and Bo Horvat, I think about as two guys like
Bless you.
bless you.
Sorry, I should have muted.
It's like those are two guys competing for Olympic spots too, and it's like this is the time they needed to get that like last push. So it's even more unfortunate. I wonder how much players are pushing themselves a little bit more with that in mind
Yeah.
too. Like
Mm.
that's got to be part of it. For the Blackhawks though, I felt like before the injury they were starting to hit a wall, and then they turned around and like kicked the crap out of the Rangers. You're like, okay, maybe I'm an idiot. But like even like Spencer Knight's numbers, you could see like he's had some incredible starts still, but he's had a couple games that are a little shakier too. And it's like it's a young team, and it feels like you could see the wheels starting to come off. And now it's like, okay, do it without Bedard. And in theory, it's like, okay, now teach everyone else how to go. So when Bedard comes back, maybe you're stronger. But I think it's one thing saying that if you're the Dallas Stars, like learn to navigate injury now, you're a veteran team versus this young team. So this could be really crushing when they have like kind of shaken up the playoff picture a little bit and had their name in there a little longer than we expected. So to lose their best player is just crushing for them too.
Yeah, you hope the best for Bedard, and obviously shoulders can be tricky if that's in fact what it is. So when you have a player like that who's starting to really finally be able to put it all together at this level, you hope for a full and complete recovery. And I'm not even talking about the Olympics, Shayna. We'll do that later. But
No, I know it's important though here. I wonder though, like if you're someone like that whose chances are so slim, right? His name wasn't even in contention originally, and now
true.
it's like, could he push his way onto there? I feel like he's someone that's so fueled by spite. Like we've been seeing spicy Bedard this year, and I think it's so much fun to see like not just the skill pop off, but like he's getting way more like engaged and everything. So I can't see it
Yeah.
that that's not on his mind and on a lot of players' minds. Like I need to push myself to prove it every damn game.
Well, another player who is no longer with his NHL team, but for different reasons, Shayna's just shaking her head. Is we go back to Montreal. We talked about the situation in net for quite a few teams last full episode. And that news for the Canadiens is that Sam Montembeault, we've talked about the struggles that the goaltenders have had there, was sent down to the AHL. It's crazy. I was thinking about this the other day. It is insane how much attention goaltenders have to take and deal with, because every player goes through being on their game, not being on their game, but there's no spotlight other than the one that goes on a goaltender when they can't play up to the way that we've seen them play at their best. But Montembeault is going to go down, hopefully rediscover his play. It's wild that we think about just a season ago, this was supposed to be the answer, the solution, part of the ascension of Montreal back into their contention window. Sara, your reaction when you saw this news? It might be the right thing, but it's still a crazy thing.
I like when the right crazy thing happens. You know what I mean? Where it's like out of the ordinary. We're finally admitting like the with goaltenders, like they do need a different set of like context rules and situations where they need different things than skaters need, right? And this is good for the long run. And I've thought about the Canadians a lot, and it's just like, are you're going to be disappointed if you're thinking this is like, oh, we're done with the rebuild, right? But you're going to be excited if you're like, wait, last year was kind of a good taste of what could happen. But of course, you look at what they did against the Caps, and it's like there's pieces missing, and there's things to figure out, and there's room to grow. So don't try to hide that or like succumb to the pressure. I like what they're doing.
Shayna, goaltenders in terms of finding their game and sticking with it long term are always a mixed bag. For every Sergei Bobrovsky, there's also a Steve Mason. What do you think about Montembeault's prospect to return to being a top tier goaltender for a team?
I think the Canadians have tried so many different things to get him going. And it was as simple as, okay, Dobesh, who was running hot in October, you're going to start consecutive games here or there to give that extra game for Montembeault to get the extra work in. And they tried, I mean, they tried to let him play third too. They have done a little bit of everything, and now you have a three goalie situation. It's not good for anyone, right? Because now not only are you not getting into game action as much, it affects how you practice. So I think this is a necessary step. It's just mind blowing because like I think Dovish bounced back enough over the last couple weeks. I mean, he was outstanding against Edmonton because he had a really crappy November too. And it's like he found his footing again. Like, see, it's possible. And it's like, okay, he should be the one up here rotating with Fowler. And then you have to do something with Montembeault. I think it gets so much attention because it's a goalie versus, say, a bottom six player is just not getting the reps. And it's like, okay, go play in the A, go play top minutes. You know, it's like get a different perspective now too because you're going to be working with the different coaching staff. I just like so did not expect this because it's not like last year was Montembeault's first good season. Like I think he was really good at the end in Florida there. I think he's been really good behind a bad defense in Montreal. And the defense has left their goalie exposed at times, like with every goalie that they've had in net now. But like this is not someone to me that's like as highlight reel as other guys, right? And has that like playing style. Like it's like a little bit more boring, which is why he doesn't get the same hype. I know he's not like the craziest, fastest, most athletic goalie either, but I just did not expect his game to go this far south this season. So whatever they can do to get him back on track, because like they really do need him to be the guy. I don't think Dobish is ready for that massive role yet, and Fowler either. Like it's a tough situation for them.
You're so right, right? Because we remember just last year it was Dobesh being called up for the first time and just starting to get his feet wet. And now it's another young call up. So you need to have a more mature player in a tandem, regardless of who that might be. All right, let's shift gears. I don't know if this is a shock or not a shock. It's been rumored to be talked about for a while. My limited business brain, and Shayna, you're going to take the ball on this first because you're our business brain, merely reacted to just the timing of this because it's a sell so quickly after a buy. But leading with the news as reported by Emily Kaplan earlier this week, Fenway Sports Group agreed in principle to sell the Pittsburgh Penguins to the Chicago-based Hoffman family. The deal is pending the NHL Board of Governor approval. The public valuation via Sportico was 1.7 billion with a B dollars. That's obviously good news for the league. The valuation keeps going up and up. But as far as the timing of it all, does this flag anything for you, Shayna, or is this just a weird way of someone doing business that they have to do?
I think it's kind of a weird way of doing business, and like it's odd when you look at how Fenway operates with other teams that they own. Like they own Liverpool and the Red Sox, and there has been a lot of money funneled into those two, especially Liverpool, I would say, of all teams. You see the way that they spent for that. And I just feel like the Penguins have not gotten that same energy. So if you're going to have ownership that's like a little more willing to spend and be a little bolder, that's a good thing. It just like, I don't know if it's fair to be like, oh yeah, the Fenway experiment was a failure for the Penguins, but I just think it was underwhelming, all of it. And it's not really a good thing in hockey when we're talking about ownership, right? Like if we're
Mm.
talking about we'll get to the Sabres, but like the Pagulas, like it's not generally a good thing. There's not many times you want to talk about like it's like you want an owner to be like a really good defenseman where if you don't notice them and you don't have anything remarkable to say like in either direction, you're like, oh, they shut down, play well, they play their matchup minutes, you're like, they're good, right? Like calm and steady. And I feel like when you keep hearing about ownership discussions, you're like, oh, okay. It was just I don't know, like they're business people at the end of the day. And it felt very corporate. And I think that is what held things back. So if that can change, that's a good thing. But yeah, the timing is interesting. You would think this is an off-season thing, honestly, but that's just me.
This is a market that you've known well, that being Pittsburgh. Just I know there's been a lot of noise too, because obviously they had former superstars involved in their ownership group more heavily. To Shayna's point, they went a little corporate. Now, maybe still a little corporate, but a sale to a different organization. What do you make of the transition that seems to be coming for who's in charge of the Penguins?
Yeah, obviously it was always a little bizarre, like me being from Boston to have like Fenway. If I was a Pens
Yeah,
fan, I think I'd
totally.
actually be a little more pressed about that. And then you'd see things like this score bug on Nesson, which is the New England Sports Network, is like was the same as the one in Pittsburgh. It's like, did they think, oh, red, black and yellow, we'll just like keep this going? Like we'll save money by like, oh, this is like the same color. This is what I genuinely think happened and why they like, and Shayna's point is just bringing in my head that like you do not, unless it's Mark Cuban, even then, like you don't want to be talking about ownership of an NHL team.
Exactly. Exactly. We will watch to see if that deal is consummated. As Shayna pointed out, it's not done till it's done, but we'll assume it's going to be done. I don't know. We'll see. But you brought this up, Shayna. It's time to go there. Another big change at the top of a team, not in ownership, but in direction and in something that seemed to be foretold when he was brought in as an advisor earlier before this season started. Jarmo Kekalainen is named officially as general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. Kevin Allen is out. The Pagulas show up to a practice yesterday. I don't know, and I covered this lightly just in terms of trying to keep up with it on the social medias. I don't know that I've seen such a like positive reaction coming from even like players about this. I understand that underneath the surface, that was a big concern of players' perception of their leadership. But I feel like when a GM changes, you don't see this much direct feedback coming from those who are on the ice. So you're around the Sabres organization in terms of paying attention to what goes on there. Obviously, we know Jarmo. I know Jarmo. Good for him for getting a second opportunity. But what do you make of this move that everyone seemed to see coming, but now is official on the books?
Like, no, you're right. The reactions to the change, I feel like is what really got me because it's like it's such a universal feeling. And it's so interesting. There was a really good story by Matt Fairburn and Tim Graham on The Athletic about the change incoming a couple days before it happened. And as I was reading it, like you forget how they picked Kevin Adams, right? Like he had no
I
experience in a
remember.
hockey, no experience as in an NHL ops department. He was the general manager of Harbor Center. And that he, yeah, he did work with like the Junior Sabres, but it was not working in a front office. And then he was the vice president of business administration for the Sabres. They did not interview anybody else. They just were like, all right, Kevin, here's the job. And that to me is mind blowing for an NHL organization, right? Like you need to work your way up. And I have no problem with GMs with different or unique experience or not necessarily a massive tenure of former teams getting jobs, right? Like get new voices in there. But you also need to be qualified for the job. That never felt like it was the case. And it just feels like the Sabres hemmed and hawed on too many deals. And then every time he spoke to the media, it got worse and worse for them. Like there's no palm trees in Buffalo, people ran with, and rightfully so, especially when the bills are popping off and you can see what, like, when you build something, players will be interested, even with the taxes, which, oh, look, there's three LA teams with massive taxes and two other New York teams with huge taxes to navigate. Like, this is not just a Buffalo Sabres problem. You have to make your team a destination, and that is not easy to navigate. But complaining about it to the media, I feel like, was not the move either. It just made everything look so much worse after years of, I would say, like indecision, not even good decisions or bad decisions, because half the time they just did not make a decision. So, really, really, really tough look. And it sucks because there are some really smart people in that front office. But you hear things about the way things were run, and it's not even just in the actual decision-making process, but like things outside of it too. And you're like, felt very Bush League. So adding Kekalainen made a lot of sense. But it also is like when you hire someone like that, you know where things are going, right? Like, okay, you're not there to just hang out and advise. It's like, this is your replacement right there. And you still are in this position. So it had to be done. And I think he has an up and down record with Columbus. There's a reason he's not there anymore, and I understand that. But I think the big thing is he's someone that I think is much more strong-willed with his decision making. Like
Oh,
he is
yeah.
decisive and
Well,
he,
yes.
right? Like he has his convictions and he is leaning into it. But I will give him credit. Like you look at the Blue Jackets front office too, and they had like data-driven perspectives and they worked with all different people. Like I felt like it was still a team approach, but I feel like it's someone that at the end of the day, the Sabres need someone who's going to make a decision, live with the consequences, right? And do what it takes to fix them on both ends of it. But it's like make a damn decision and do something. So it's polar opposite.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Sarah, is that, and look, we all know nobody's perfect. You look at the Columbus roster now and you can see a lot of those pieces that are up and coming are additions courtesy of Jarmo Kekalainen's tenure. But to Shayna's point, there's a reason that he's not GM there anymore. Then, of course, counterpoint, people can learn and grow and improve in a second tenure. Do you think this is the right fit for Buffalo with Jarmo Kekalainen?
Yes, and I mean, if Terry Pagula has showed us anything, it's that he's gonna kind of give GMs the like capital and decision making space to kind of do that, where maybe that's not the case in a smaller market. Like, I don't know, sometimes that just happens. But I also want to say, yeah, you mentioned, Allison, that like players love him. Yeah, if I'm a Buffalo Sabre, I just got to hang on for a few months, and then I'm going to go to the Panthers. Then I'm going to go to the Golden Knights. Then I'm going to win a Stanley Cup. So, like, I would love that being my GM, but like, it's a 5.5 years of it all for me, where it's like
Yeah.
this guy should already be on a show. This guy, I think he's probably nice because, like you said, the players like him. He's the nicest guy. You don't have to get the surgery. Let's go. You're going over here, whatever. But like, that's my impression of Kevin Adams. I've only heard him talk when he's like blaming other things for his
Literally, that's the
problems.
only time. Every time he talks, you're like, if you're in Buffalo, you're like, please stop. And the rest of us are like, no, 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 give us more material.
But if you're Terry Pagula, you know the context of how hard this GM position is going to be. You know this guy is like out of the ordinary. It should have been, let's do year by year. Suddenly it's 5.5 years. And the last time before this where Terry Pagula had fired a GM mid-season was 2013. It's like you got to get things moving. This team has not gotten better.
It's crazy. And I think with all adding disrespect on disrespect, I think I said Kevin Allen, not Kevin Adams. Did I? I don't know. So
It's
sorry,
it's it's
you're
fine.
not here anymore. I apologize. All right. Those are our Bitso news. Let's do a quick recap of what's going on in the PWHL. They're back at it after the international break, which, hey, did you hear the USA swept the rivalry series, kids, putting up the most goals ever on Team Canada? But I digress. An exciting night last night and there was a game yesterday as well, a back-to-back for Ottawa where they lose both in Vancouver and Seattle. But I love this in a takeover tour trip to Halifax. Montreal and Toronto deliver the goods in a shootout. Marie-Philippe Poulin delivering the game winner as it should be. And Sara, Boston continues to roll undefeated in 5 games. It's a record. They remain at the top of the standings. When you look at where teams are sizing up, we're starting to see the expansion teams maybe getting their feet under them. But it's going to be hard to catch the Fleet the way that they're starting. Does either of you want to go first with any thoughts on where on the women's side things are early on starting to shake out?
My thoughts, in Abby Newhook we trust. And now I'll take the floor to Shayna.
I just, there's the Sirens I know and love. I mean, it was fun for a couple games, and then they get shut out back to back. And I'm just like, "Ah, we're so back. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I was so excited about them. Like, they had that game against Vancouver earlier this season, and I literally, like, 10 minutes in, I'm like, what am I watching? This is
Yeah.
incredible. There's so much speed. It's so exciting. And then they get shut out 4-0 to Vancouver, but they lose to Boston last night. Obviously, Boston's on a roll. The goaltending, impeccable. But
Chef's kiss.
I, why do you do this to me?
Here's my thing. I am choosing to be optimistic about the Sirens because I think I said this before, I like how they're handling
Yeah,
what expansion did. I like that they basically said, okay, fine, take those players, let's redo this. They have the fewest number of returning players from last year, both through what was taken, but then also through trades and active choices to reshape their roster. I like their young talent. So I'm here to support, hopefully, with maturation, they can get better.
yeah. No, there's a nice foundation. I like the vibes. I like the direction. It's different than say Ottawa, who every year, and I know they exceeded expectations last year, but every year I watch Charge and I'm like, I
I
have
know.
issues. And it's like they're the team, like stylistically, I'm like, they're my little disruptors. They're gonna be so much fun. And I love McLeod's coaching style.
I
Like you
love
see
her.
it. Yeah, you see it at the international level too. You're
I
like,
love
this is
her.
it. This is the disruptors. They're gonna be so annoying to play against. Like that's the team I want. But then I watch them and I'm like, can you score more than one goal, please? Just more than one.
Just we're a crumb. Two.
Yeah.
1.5. Like, let's get
Give
a
me
goal
two
off
little
that.
Okay,
slices of rice.
but they made it to the final last year.
I,
So
that
there's
yeah,
time.
exactly. There's time. That's the
There's
thing. That's
time.
what's nice. It's much more wide open, but like it's gonna be so different this year because you have more contenders for the same spot. So it's like, how is this gonna go? Like, I love it. I feel like we're learning on the fly every year, and it's gonna be fun when we get to a point where it's not like, okay, expansion, okay, something new. We will get there. But like while we have it, like let's have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So check out those games, my friends. If you're looking for a way to find them, you can always find them online, even if they're not over the air in your market. Go to thepwhl.com. All right. We're going to wrap things up with some quick hockey talk. We got 2 Eastern teams to talk about, 2 Western teams to talk about, because we are nothing if unbiased here at Too Many Men. And if you believe that, well, moving on. Let's go first to the East. Shayna, the New York Matthew Schaefers, as I like to call them, are second in the East. They're still hard for me to make appointment television, and that's owning my bias of so many years of Lou Lamoriello hockey. But tell us about the Islanders. Are they actually good?
You know, they might just be. They're fun this year. They play a style of hockey that is fun. When you are a team that generates a ton off the rush, but you also happen to allow more back, you are simply entertaining. And when you have an amazing goaltender like Ilya Sorokin, who so many people lost faith in last year, did not understand that when his numbers were still good last year too. He was someone like we were trying to figure out the best goalies in the world, and we were like, we're all idiots trying to like navigate this for player tiers. Every single person we asked about Sorokin, we're like, tell us why he's good. Tell us, like, because I'm sitting here like, he's better than this, he's better than this. And everyone's like, this is one of the best goalies in the world, period. Like, there's no question. And I love that he's showing it. He had a shaky start to the year, but he's looked incredible since. You look at their penalty kill. I went through the numbers, like the last month of play, I think it was. No one has saved more goals above expected on the penalty kill than the Islanders, who are literally like top 3 team in like suppressing, scoring in shorthanded situations, but they're literally like a bottom 3 team in expected goals against. And to me, not sustainable. But the offense is popping, and that's huge because that's not the Islanders we know and have loathed for so long, right? Like Barzell looks really good. He's healthy and he's doing it at center. Heineman has been a really good secondary scorer for them. And Bo Horvat, now injured, still, like before he got hurt, was popping off. And I think he's having just an outstanding season. So you see all the excitement. Then you add in, I don't know, Matthew Shaper, who is unbelievable. And now doing it in matchup minutes, very, very exciting times.
So that was such a great point. And that always, when we look at how many teams, my goodness gracious, how many goals a team allows, whether it be at even strength or on special teams, always double check what's actually getting in the net versus the quality that's being allowed, to know if it's the defense or the goaltender. But Sara, are you buying stock in the Islanders? Are they for real?
Yes. Yep. I think we had talked about this on the podcast that Sorokin was gonna be fine eventually, and when that happened, that was gonna change the trajectory of the team, because it's literally, is Sorokin gonna have an elite season or not, which kind of paces this team. And then now there's Schaefer, who has, honestly, we've had high expectations for him and we knew he was going to be good, but like it just is so impressive to see what this kid has been able to do, like in jumping right in. Like he had one bad game, and that was like a few days ago, and it was like what, like literally one bad game of his entire rookie season so far, and like just insane what he's been able to add to production when this team needs more goals. Like it just, like he's been able to do that. It's been crazy. That Bo Horvat, sorry Canucks, like we got that again. But yeah, I mean, Sorokin's elite.
Well, speaking of teams that seem to get a curse by connection with the Canucks, on the other side of things are the New Jersey Devils, led by bestie of the pod, apparently Fitzy. Who's to say? We're just going to call him Fitzy now, but it's wild how things change in the hashtag discourse. start of the season, the Devils are rolling. They're looking like the team that everyone thought they could be last season because they were healthy. And now here we are. They are 3-7-0 in the last 10. They're obviously without now officially two Hughes brothers because they couldn't get the trade done. Everyone's coming after Tom Fitzgerald for his leadership and inability to go in on the Quinn Hughes sweepstakes. We talked about that in more detail last episode, but New Jersey, Shayna, everyone being bitten by the injury bug, New Jersey among them. What do you make of where they are in terms of their play just about to go into the holiday break?
I mean, they have Brett Pesci back, and that's going to be massive because, yes, we all look at it like what happened to the Devils since Shaq Hughes got hurt, but you saw all of these things building before that, right? Like they came into the season hot, and I think Nico Hischier was amazing the first few games, and then his game started to trail off. And I feel like it all kind of paired with Pesci's absence because it even strengthened on the penalty kill. They looked a lot worse. And you see guys like Luke Hughes aren't as good defensively with them. Like it affected so many different players. And I don't think Pesci was perfect last year, but you see like his role on a team is to just be like a defensive stabilizer. And once they lost that, it felt like the wheels start to come off. Then you lose Jack, and they're already a top heavy offensive team, and it just all starts crumbling and the injuries are now piling up. But it comes down to like the roster construction a bit here because coming into the year we knew they needed more scoring depth. I don't think they added enough of it. Like I like Connor Brown coming in and they made a couple little key moves, but it just feels like they didn't do enough, especially with Mercer being better at wing. And I feel like that they learned that last year because when he was on the third line, it wasn't even at center. Right? Like if he's not in the top six, it should be because he's playing center on the third line and you have this really good Heishier, Hughes, and Mercer you're running. Not the case. So it's not good. And then now with the Hughes situation, they couldn't clear cap. Everything Fitzy has done is going to go under the microscope, and rightfully so. And you look at some of the no movement and no trade clauses, and it's a good conversation to have because it does feel like they get handed out way too often. It's not on the players, it's on the general managers. And you see these contracts that have massive cap hits too, and long terms, like something's got to give somewhere. But like it was less about the Dougie contract for me. It's more about the Palat contract that always kind of seemed odd. That was you're paying for a 16 game player who won elsewhere. Like that's what happens, right? Like Tampa Bay knows, oh, we're gonna win a cup with Gord and Coleman and Plot, and then they're gonna walk and they're okay with it because they'll find new versions of those players. And other teams are like, we're gonna pay top dollar for each of those guys, right? And that's exactly what happened here. And now, oops, doesn't work out, and now he's not even as good in the playoffs anymore. That's already faded. So that's a problem.
Sarah, can the Devils rebound? Do you believe in them?
No, if it's going to fall apart like this, like I'm really sorry, but you just see some teams that are built to like in this league, we're seeing the theme of the season is injuries, and you're seeing these injuries. You have to be like a Jim Nill, right? Look at the injuries that struck the Stars in the beginning of the season. They were resilient and they got through it, right? Like look at there's just I mean the Panthers in general, not right now, I guess that's not the best example, but they've had endured literally 3 years of making it to the finals, so I don't think that counts. I think if Jack Hughes is gone and your entire team immediately falls apart, it's like this just isn't working.
We'll see if they can rebound back, knowing that they will not have three Hughes brothers on the roster and if they can stay healthy. All right, let's
also wait, can
no.
I say
Yes,
Tom Fitzgerald,
please.
you should get fired because what type of package was that for Quinn Hughes? That's a fireable offense. Okay, I'm done.
Wait, I didn't say yesterday I was obviously doing game related things. What was the package?
It was, let me make sure I'm getting this right. The Tom Fitzgerald package offer Canucks Hughes. Type fucking anything in there. You're
I
still
do the
gonna get the
same shit. I
wrong.
do the same
Speaking
thing.
Google, I know exactly. We all do it.
So okay, where is this? Oh God, I'm like on truthsocial.com. Not really. Okay.
Never.
That's it. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's it is the headlining. Uh,
Do, do,
God.
do, do.
Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, it's Dawson Mercer, defenseman Simon Nemec, defensive prospect Anton Siliev, and a first round pick. Like, hello, we need like literally these aren't guys that are going to move the needle. Like, I know people love Dawson Mercer, but what's he been able to do? I don't know. That's where I'm at.
And
So
at
there's
center,
now, yeah,
what's he doing at
exactly. They
center when
need a
Vancouver's
center.
going, we need a center, we need a center,
Yeah,
can't make the straight
yeah,
without a center. I also with like Nemec, I almost feel like they waited too long. Like if they were gonna use him as a trade chip, I'm sure they didn't want him as a trade chip. They wanted him to be in their starting lineup on a nightly basis. And I think even this year you're seeing like while he can score and do things offensively, like there are still a lot of gaps in his game that they have not worked through yet. And this was someone who was drafted second overall. It's a little bit different for a guy with that like top five pick tag. Like it sticks with players, right? And
yeah.
like, and then you see other guys who have been in that position since and what their trajectory was, and his is still like below pace for what it should be. But it does feel like they held on to some players too long that it felt like they were potential trade pieces and then their value sunk. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to thread the needle.
Yeah. I mean, listen, although I'd rather New Jersey kind of, if they're going to fade out, I'd rather they fade out now than versus like limp into the playoffs like they did last year. Granted, because of injuries and just get totally owned because that was just, I know it's revenue to get in the playoffs, but still,
Hmm.
that's my vote. All right, we promised you Western talk as well, so let's swing out there. And I've got to be honest, and this is terrible, but I come home last night from the Torrent game. I'm trying to catch up on the NHL, and you see that it's the Kings highlights on the TV, and I'm like, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I just can't. I'm sorry. It's a bias I have. Here we are. But the note that was put into our show notes by people who shall remain nameless was the Kings. Are they boring and underwhelming? Shocker. We talk about this group. We've talked about maybe an underwhelming offseason. In their last 10, they are 3-4-3. They currently sit right in the middle of the Pacific Division. Sara, what are we going to do about the Kings?
Well, I'm going to continue to complain about them. That's for sure. I'm going to feel vindicated because they had a few moments. But even if you're watching them, like, it's more of the disaster that is the Pacific Division than it is like, and they're squeaking out the most like hard fought games for what? Like the one word I'd use to describe them is exhausting, and it's just getting more exhausting as the days go on.
Shayna, how do you get yourself to watch highlights of a Kings game?
They better be playing a good opponent. Like they were playing the Stars the other night and there weren't too many late games on that I'm like, okay, I'll watch them. Last night was a Wednesday, you know, but I'm very underwhelmed. I'm very underwhelmed. And it's like, yes, their offensive generation is better than the score sheet shows. Yes, their shooting percentage is one of the lower, numbers in the league. But like, this is not a one-off. This is not a, oh, all of a sudden they're not scoring enough. We've been talking about the Kings offense for years now. And it's like they went for that forward depth approach versus just like elite, elite, elite stars, game breakers and things like that. And I think Byfield can become that elite star, and he's been a little bit slower this year, but still, it's like that's what they went for. Okay. But like the power play's not going, even strength is not going. Then they get older and slower on the back end, and goaltending is made up for that too a bit. Like they're not a disaster defensively, like I thought they'd be as much, but I'm underwhelmed here, and it felt like Brant Clark was finally gaining some traction. It's like Drew Daddy's back, and I feel like he's faded too. So it's all bad, and I'm curious if they do anything because like their window, because they have these older guys too, and if they're gonna go for it and Kopitar's last season with a wide open Pacific Division, like this could be the moment to like do something kind of wild. And Ken Holland is not like the quietest of GMs, so maybe something will happen here, but it feels like they're gonna shake up their coaching situation first. Like I think we're all just waiting to see that happen at this point.
This is a conversation for another day, but this is just another thing that we always talk about. How does Dallas do it? Like the action and the plan and the moves that are required to truly be a contender versus being just in it. Like this is just such a juxtaposition of that for me, in my opinion. No one's nodding. Okay, the cheese stands alone.
I no,
Go on.
go on.
No, I have to think about it more, but like as we're talking this through, it's like the Kings just do enough, but
Yeah.
there's a difference when your plan becomes A plus to get to contention versus we're just going to try and be good. And I'm way under. That's why I have to think about this because I'm way
No,
underselling.
but I like they just do enough. Feels like their in-game strategy as well. It's not just the roster
That's
building.
fair.
Like you
That's
go back
fair.
to last postseason, right? And it's like they're going, we're gonna do just enough to contain the Oilers in the third period. And it's like, well, I don't think that's a good situation to be in against any team, but especially the Oilers, especially Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. It doesn't matter you're up 2-0 in the series. Like doing just enough has gotten you out of the playoffs every single year to the same team. And oh,
Well, and listen,
let's do it again.
you could say that the Oilers are doing just enough. They just happen to have generational talent on their
Exactly.
roster.
There's a big difference who can do that, right? Like the Panthers are going to do just enough to make the playoffs. I'm not worried about them right now. It's so different when you have the track record or the elite talent, one, the other, or both. And the Oilers and Panthers have that. The Kings don't. Like you have to build that reputation, and they haven't done it in what, 10 years?
See, and I would actually say the Panthers are not a just enough because there was basically like an overhaul strategy that built an identity that built a like we'll this will be
I meant
we'll
just
table
enough
this.
this year with the
Fair,
injuries.
fair, fair, fair,
Because
fair.
you're
Fair, fair,
right on
fair.
that. Like
Fair, fair, fair.
absolutely. They've done a ton.
And I will say, as much as we crap all over stuff all the time on here, obviously GMs are not walking into the office and saying, let's do just enough. It's just about how these things come into play and how your thinking is realized and implemented and how much risk you're willing to take. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
it. The
risk.
risk reward.
Yeah, and sometimes owners have different standards of risk reward to keep your job. So I get it.
Yeah.
100%. So this is speaking of teams that are doing things a little differently. And this one, as much as we just had that conversation, I think this is a team that's going to start to become really interesting because they're having a shitload of fun and they're starting to win. And what does that have to become, if anything, to handle when you start to have the pressure of truly being a contending team? What, if anything, has to change? And that is the San Jose Sharks. They are still hanging around in the playoff picture. They are 6-4-0 in the last 10 games that they've played. As much as I crap about not wanting to watch the Islanders or the Kings, if the San Jose Sharks are playing, boop, I turn them on. Macklin Celebrini, a delight. He's going to surprise you every night. And again, there's a vibe about them. Now, in talking to people around the league, like I just said, there's a question of, sure, they can have fun because there's no pressure right now. And eventually that's going to start to change. And is this, the talent is obviously there. Is this going to be how are they going to have to change that roster construction? How are they going to have to change how they think about the strategy of how this team plays? These are going to be questions down the road. But right now, Shayna, how good are the Sharks?
They're fun. To see, they're a team that's building themselves an identity and a track record in a way that is so impressive. And like while we talked about the Blackhawks, even with Bedard, felt like they were hitting this wall. I almost got there with the Sharks, and then they like beat the Leafs in overtime and come out and surprise. And they had like a big win over the Canes a couple weeks ago, and you're like, oh wait, like you're still disrupting things. And Celebrini is must watch TV since he came into the league. Absolutely yes. And it's like the whole energy. I have to give credit to their broadcast too because I
They
think
have
they
fun with
do.
it. They
They
and they
have so
own
much
it.
fun.
They
Yeah.
own where they are. Like when they were hashtag bad or like down in the standings, they acknowledge it without shitting on the team and without disrespecting the team, but they're
Yeah.
still real about it.
Yeah, they're like, yes, they're homers as you expect a home broadcast to be, obviously. But I feel like there's a different energy of like trying to scramble to find good things to say about it. They're like, no, here's something fun and interesting. And like, it feels like the camaraderie is just there, right? Like, I think the coaching situation seems really positive. Having guys, we talk about like veteran presences and rebuilding situations, like it is important. But to have someone like Tyler Toffoli, it just feels like he's the team dad everybody needed. And it's like the glue that helps these young guys thrive. And it's just interesting. It's exciting hockey. Like I don't that's the thing. Like if a team is fun offensively and bad defensively, it's going to be more interesting. And now that they have some really high-end goaltending, it's like they can actually get by with that a little bit more. I love it. I think no matter what they do this year, things are a win. As long as they don't go on like a 15 game losing streak to like end the year or something like that, that you see like the energy start to wilt. But otherwise I'm like, yes, I'm in. Like this team is building something special.
Sarah, I'm going to play again a little bit of devil's advocate. I love watching this team, but I do think there's going to have to be some stuff that starts to change as they start to become a quote unquote real team. What are you seeing in the Sharks right now?
Yeah, I think like I love the buy-in, right? And I think to your point of fun, there's going to be a time where it's not so fun because you want to have the ultimate fun of winning. Like you look at Kirill Kaprizov now, he's having fun. Maybe he was a little stressed out in the past few years, but look at him having fun with Quinn Hughes. So just you think about that and you think, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But I think yeah, there obviously needs to be more depth. There needs to be like stronger defense. Like they're gonna have to get a few like better from top to bottom defensemen, but looking good for now.
Look at this. We said this will be a short little quick episode. We already talked a little bit this week, and here we go, a yapping. We did it, kids. We're giving our listeners an extra long going into the holiday epi. So let's wrap this one up. What do you say?
Sounds good.
We have our favorite game, our second to last one of the calendar year of 2025, which is absolutely insane to think about. We end with our favorite game, except for Steven and John, and that is Fuck, Marry, Kill. We have a doozy to go out on. I'm excited for this one. Sara, as is tradition, you go first. You are going to fuck, marry, kill the upcoming outdoor jerseys for the 2 series that are coming. And there are 4 teams participating. Obviously, we are offering you only 3 because we've disqualified New York for sheer boringness. Fuck, marry, kill, please, for me, the outdoor series jerseys of Tampa Bay, Boston, and the Florida Panthers.
I'm marrying Panthers, even though that's not my favorite iteration of that jersey and that logo. It's still iconic. I wish they'd just make it more 90s-esque, I guess. It's just, I'm so sorry. Like, Fanatics, that's cheap. That's just is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to marry that one. I'm going to fuck Tampa's. I know this is unpopular, but it looks like heated rivalry or something. Like it looks like it'd be a romance novel, and they're capitalizing on the time. It's so bad that it's almost good, but no, like bring back the roller hockey ones from the 2000s if you're gonna do that. I'm killing the Bruins. Hate the color. Hate this. Hate this.
Wow. These are some takes. Shayna, what's your pick?
Marrying the Panthers as well. I like it. I like the whole look altogether. I think it blends the Panthers vibe, energy of being that like fun, like fun Southern-based team. They're an untraditional market, but they still get that like classic twist of it with some of the choices of like the pants, the gloves. So I like it enough that I will marry it. 'Cause I'm really curious what they were gonna do here. I think for a stadium series, you have that leeway to be a little more different. Um, I'll fuck the Bruins. I love that shoulder patch. I wish it was the main logo, but I don't mind the primary logo either. I actually like the colors. The more I looked at it, the more it grew me. It works. It's bright. I think it'll translate really well on the ice. I think it's gonna look really good against the color scheme that Tampa Bay went with. Um, I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, but like there's something about it, like the striping pattern and the black pants. Like I'm fine with it. I think Boston has done so many different looks, but like that B logo, I want on everything. Like make that the alternate next year. Like that could be fun. I'm gonna kill Tampa Bay. I love the lightning detail. I love that in the lettering and stuff. I think that's so great, but TBL diagonally. And I know they've had the Bolts diagonal logo, but I'm sorry. I'm so tired of it. I get it's a stadium series and you have to be a little more simple, but this just isn't it to me. I think they went different with the color scheme for a different look for them. Absolutely, positively love that, right? Like I think it's interesting. It's bright. It's kind of unique. It like Winnipeg's the only one that has dark blue, light blue in there, so cool. But that isn't it. And then you look at the shoulder patch, and I think that one's a little too intricate for this setting. But I think that there's something you could do there. Like go with the skull and that like piratey vibe, or they have like the swords on it too. I think that there's a way to do just a totally different, totally untraditional logo and lean into it, and it feels like they just slapped that on the shoulder and were like, we're boring.
All right, I have to
Agree.
pause this because Tampa Bay is going with the TBL logo, right? Because I
Yeah.
made sure to pull this up and then something else came up. Okay, good. All right, okay. I am going to agree with Shayna because I sent you all the Tampa Bay jersey when I saw it for the first time, literally saying, what the actual fuck is this? And then I sent it to another friend who responded simply with table. And I can't unsee it. Like, what are we doing? It's so bad. I hate it. Sara, to your point, I think it looks like a romance novel fake
Yep.
team, but
Yeah.
that's bad.
Nailed it.
Like it's it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I have no excuse for what you decided to do there. Please never, ever, ever, ever again. I will marry Florida because, as Sara said, it's not my favorite iteration of this logo, but this logo is so bad it's good. And that's why we love it. We love the retro vibe of it. And therefore, by process of elimination, I will fuck around with Boston. I don't hate it like you do, Sara. I'm fine with it. And there's something, I don't know, for me, it's like Boston and Montreal can kind of get away with stuff more.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know why that doesn't make any sense, but that's how I feel.
I think we have to keep in mind that I've been duped. Like there's been multiple times where I'm seeing the light reflect off this in the stadium or in
Fair, fair,
the Winter Classic scenario where it's outdoors and they end up looking good for outdoors.
fair,
So
fair.
I'll hold all my judgment, but I'm not going to like buy this.
And I
I'm
think
not
that's,
going outside
yeah,
doing this.
that's such a good point because like I go back to the jerseys that the Blue Jackets wore outdoors last year. Like I cannot stand them in person, but they look good on
Oh, I
TV
love
for the
those.
game. And like, but here's the thing though, like that's part of the problem of these jerseys is you have to design something that works well on TV, but then is also makes sense to buy. Otherwise, you see a lot of people running around in stupid looking jerseys because they got
And
duped
from
the
the
other way.
stands, right? They have to look good from the stand. And I think were you the one that said it? Like you were at an outdoor game and like it's tough to read certain numbers and names on it too.
Yeah,
And like that's why the simplistic approach sometimes is what you have to do. And like the oversized letters and the oversized logos. That's why like the Canon logo, I'm like, cool, it's just a giant logo. I like that. You don't want it that it's too much going on. So I get it, Tampa. I get it. I see what you're going for. But that wasn't it.
Seattle Kraken Winter Classic jerseys undefeated, best of all time. Okay, I'm done. All right, my friends, that will do it for us for this episode. We were here yapping, like I said, a little bit longer than we expected, but we had fun. We hope you did too. As we head into the full on blast of the holiday week, we hope that all of you get to do something that brings you joy and whatever that means to you this year. If you want to stay connected to us during that time, please join us on the socials. We are at 2_much_man on Twitter, on Instagram, and YouTube. On Blue Sky, just replace those underscores with hyphens. If you're still looking to do your holiday shopping, everybody wants Too Many Men merch. Of course they do. Check out our new merch site, toomanymen.printful.me. We're trying to get into a rhythm of adding some new merch every month. We got some up this month. Who knows what Shayna's amazing creative mind will bring to us in the new year. And until then, with holiday joy and spirit, again, we wish you all love. We wish you all happiness. And we ask that in that spirit, you do something, no matter how big or small, to make sure that hockey truly is for everyone. We will talk to you soon.
Love you.
Bye.